Alrighty, so despite the fact that my voice is probably operating only at 50% right now, show must go on in terms of talk about all of these remaining games from match week number 11 because yesterday we did a little throwback in terms of looking at the first 8 games from match week number 11 right after when the final game of the Saturday action is over. And now we're going to look at the remaining game, and that includes the game that just finished a couple of seconds ago between the Seattle Sounders versus the Galaxy, which we'll talk about last. When we start off with the first game, and that of course is Nashville versus Montreal, and this was actually the only game that featured a lot of goals. There were not a lot of goals that were featured in these remaining games that I'm going to talk about. In fact, there was only one goal here. There was only one goal here. There was no goal here, and then on the other board there was only 2 goals that is featured. But this game did feature a bit of a high scoring affair, but for Nashville, they needed this one badly. I mean, this is exactly what the doctor ordered, and the same goes for Sam Surridge and Honeymook Todd too, because they really needed this game badly too as well. Now, early on, 1 minute into the game, Edwards would hit one right to Willis, but then in the 11th minute, Surridge would score. He scored from Yearwood to give Nashville a 1-0 lead, and then Mukhtar trying to get on the score sheet, but he was absolutely robbed by Seawas from a point blank effort. Nevertheless, though, he did get on the assist chart in the 21st minute because Walker Zimmerman, we know that he is the king in terms of scoring headers from the corner, and he scored again here. So he scored here from Mukhtar to make it 2-0 in favor of Nashville. Could have been 3-0 if the post did not deny Mukhtar of a third goal. So while Mukhtar didn't get on the score sheet in this one, and was probably a little unfortunate to not get on the score sheet. At least his assist making ability was back into this game because yeah, it's been a very rough season for Honey Mukhtar, both on the assist and goal scoring department. But there was no doubt the shackle seems to be off of Nashville, and that we talk about this offense has been pretty doormat for the past couple of games. Oh, they have come alive in this one. Siwas then denied Mule from close range, and then Waterman would hit one right to Willis, and then Lassiter pulls it wide from long range. And despite the fact that Montreal was second best throughout the first half, they started gaining a foothold into this game and looking to maybe steal a goal back before we head to halftime. We do head to halftime with Nashville leading 2-0 over Montreal, and it didn't take long before they lead it 3-0 against Montreal in the second half. And Sam Surridge would score his second goal of the game from Mukhtar and Yearwood to make it 3-0 in favor of Nashville. And then it could have been 4-0 as Schaffelberg was in on goal here. It was 1v1 with Siwas, but Siwas was able to deny him there. So in the 65th minute, Montreal would get one back as unfortunately Walker Zimmerman scored an own goal here. So yeah, Walker Zimmerman with a bit of a Yamar moment here, scoring on one end in the first half, only to basically score an own goal on the other end. But yeah, like, at least give Montreal a little bit of life, and they look like they got the momentum after getting a one back because Willie has to make a save here to deny Koi from close range, and this is where Nashville's got to be careful because yes, they're leading 3-1 in this game, but now it seems like the momentum has changed to Montreal, and we have seen before that just because you lead 3-0 at home doesn't mean you are safe whatsoever. I mean, just ask Sporting KC fans how that, of course, feel. And I'm sorry, Sporting KC fans, you knew that was coming when I mentioned about the 3-0 lead at home. But in the 67th minute, Ibrahim would hit it high from close range before Piet would get it wide from close range. But in the 82nd minute, Nashville makes sure it's all 3 points. And it's Sam Surridge getting his first career hat trick here to make it 4-1 in favor of Nashville. And it was a spectacular sequence, too, because Mukhtar would hit the post for the second time in this game. So yeah, the post were definitely not kind to Hani Mukhtar in this one. And the same goes for Sam Surge too. He also hit the post here before on the third attempt. He was able to score a hat trick. And honestly, on any given week, Sam Surge would definitely win Player of the Week. But we already know that probably that's not going to happen because of a certain goat that broke the record in terms of the most assists in a game and also the most goal contribution in a single game. That probably might get it from this week. But in the 83rd minute, Toy looked like he got one back from Montreal as he puts it into the back of net. Problem was the goal was disallowed as VAR deemed that it was offside on the development play. Duke then hits one right to Willis in the second minute of stop time. To Montreal credit, they didn't give up. I mean, they were still going late to try to get a consolation goal, but in the end, Nashville they hold on on, well, not really hold on, but uh, getting a big win here to win 4-1 against Montreal. And the shots in this one, it was actually relatively close for a 4-1 game. 19 shots compared to 16 that Montreal has, 4 shots on goal compared to 7 that Nashville has, 3 shots off target compared to 6 that Montreal had, 6 shots that was blocked compared to 5 that Nashville has, and possession wise, 58% possession compared to 42% possession that Nashville has in this game. And that, again, for Nashville, they desperately needed this one. And the same goes for Gary Smith. I mean, his seat must be really hot right now. So we'll at least kind of cool up it off a little bit with this big offensive explosion that they've been looking for the past couple of weeks. But for Montreal, yeah, as much as Laurent Courtois has played some good soccer, and they still are playing some good soccer even in this defeat. I didn't think they played too badly on the attack, but yeah, that defense. We have seen it a couple of times this season that that defense has really kind of getting cut open, and this was an example of just getting absolutely gassed in this one against Nashville. But now moving on in the next match is Chicago and New England. So this game actually was delayed about an hour because there was lightning strike. So that kind of relieved me a little bit because at least I kind of was able to watch this game along with the RSL Sporting KC, and then I was able to watch the Vancouver Austin game all at the same time. But nevertheless, in terms of this game, I mentioned how for both of these teams they desperately need a win. I mean, this is the desperation derby, and in the end, New England got the win in that desperation Darby in this one. But like I said, the game was delayed by the Lightning. The game didn't kick off until 8:25 p.m. local time, and not much really happened in the first 10 minutes into this game. In fact, the shots were nil-nil through the first 10 minutes of this game. The first shot did came in the 11th minute when Herberts puts it high from long range before Gutman puts it high from long range in the 20th minute. As I thought the Fire start to control the game, they were looking to try to get the opening goal. But then on the other end, Sean Kalai had the first shot for New England as he heads it wide from close range before he hits one right to Brady in the 32nd minute. Gutierrez then puts it high in the back post as both of these teams were trading chances up to this point. But we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. Now in the second half, Brady would deny Arriaga from the header before Arriaga would head it wide on the following corner. It's been a long time since Xavier Arriaga has scored a goal. Not only for the Sounders, but really in MLS play in general. But there was no doubt that I thought the Revs kind of got some good early chances early on. They were looking for the opening goal. Brady would deny Ismail from close range in the 52nd minute before Carlos Hill would pulls it wide from long range. But then the 62nd minute, after sustained pressure, New England takes the lead, and it's Thomas Shankalai who earlier on was the most active player for the Revs on the attack. He would score here to make it 1-0 in favor of the Revs. And you know that one of the trademark of Thomas Shankalai is long range goal. And the fact that, while it was a great goal there from Shankalai, yeah, I think the Fire didn't get that memo there because they gave him way too much space outside the box to shoot. Like they were almost inviting him to take it on. And like I said, this is his specialty. He hasn't known to score those long range effort, and that just terrible defending there from the Fire, just terrible closing down, which is again something that we've been saying a lot for this Fire team in terms of defending throughout this rough season that they had. On the other end, though, in the 73rd minute, Ivicic robbed Shaqiri on the free kick. So I asked Ivicic, just signed recently. He gets the start in this one, and I thought he played pretty well in this one, and we knew that is the case. We knew Ivicic is a decent keeper. Now the question is whether or not if he can keep his emotion in check in terms of off the field situation. But there was no doubt that the Fire was pressing back to get the equalizer. Kuipers hits it wide from close before he hits it right to Ivicic in the 90th minute. I thought the Revs were just kind of sort of holding on for dear life. I mean, the Fire was trying to throw the kitchen sink to get the equalizer. Kuipers tried to get the late equalizer in the 7th minute of stoppage time, but he hits it right to Ivicic. But in the end, New England with a big road win in this one. It's the first road win that they have this season and only the second win this season. I don't know if they're still at the bottom of the Eastern Conference right now, but nevertheless, the big 3 points for them, a desperate 3 points that they needed with a 1-0 win over the Fire. Shots of this one, 16 shots created, 11 that New England has, 4 shots on goal for the 3 that Chicago has, 8 shots off target for the 5 that New England has, 2 shots off blocked for the 5 that Chicago has, and possession-wise, 50% possession for both of these teams. And that, yeah, while New England got a big win in this desperation derby, for Chicago, yeah, this is not going so well whatsoever. And again, it's the same story every single season. This team always get off to a slow start, which is why don't be surprised if this Fire team does get to a decent run in the middle of the season and turn things around. Fire fans will immediately point that that's just kind of the Fire cycle every season where they get off to a slow start, look decent, and give the fans some hope in the middle of the season, and then they crash and burn as soon as we hit into the stretch run of the MLS season. But that being said, moving on in the next match is RSL and Sporting KC, and I also just realized that I gotta charge my laptop that I'm using to record this video because I just realized it's actually started about to run out. No wonder why the screen is a little bit dim. So yeah, let me do that. But yeah, moving on in the next match is RSL versus Sporting KC, and well, for Sporting KC, it seems like they win from blowing leads late into the game to now just kind of giving up goals late into the game to draw points and lose to their opposition. Now, early on in the first half, Glad would flash one just wide from close range before Memo Rodriguez would put it wide from long range. Like Memo Rodriguez in the midfield in this game, that was kind of weird to see because that's not his natural position. But that also just shows you that Sporting KC, they were definitely dealing with some injuries throughout this game. But in the 8th minute, Gomez would put it high from close range. I thought it was a lively start for both of these teams. It didn't quite turns out to be the case because the game really started to tighten up with not much chances after when I decided to write that. So it feels like as soon as I write that, it was kind of the kiss of death because the game really slowed down. Not much chances that was created. Sherry would hit one right to McMath before Russell would put it wide from close range. And then on the other end, Postgame would deny Gomez from close range. So John Postgame playing in his first game in this one, as Tim Mealy, of course, gets the rest in this one. But we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. Now in the second half, Polito puts it wide from close range before Volodare would play an ill-advised back pass that actually struck the post and out. So yeah, that honestly, if that one went in, that would have been the most sporting moment of the season. That pretty much sums up the season for Sporting KC. But in the 53rd minute, Postcam would deny Gomez from close as I thought RSL started to get the momentum. They were looking for the opening goal. And they would have got the opening goal if it wasn't for the post getting in the way of Julio's shot. Now, it wouldn't have counted either way because the flag, of course, went up for offside. The ref was then told that he sucked because, yeah, apparently fans were not happy in terms of some of the refereeing decision that was being made throughout this game. Luna then had a shot that was deflected wide before he actually struck the post from close range in the 78th minute. But you just kind of had a sense that as we get closer and closer to the 90th minute, this is where things start to get nervous if you're a Sporting KC fan because as I mentioned, RSL is knocking on the door, but can they get that crucial goal? I mean, Ro, it might be here we go again for Sporting KC because they've seen the story many times this season. Once we get to the latter part of the game, that's when not only they've been at their most vulnerable, but it's almost inevitable that they would concede a late goal. Guess what happened? They conceded a late goal again, and literally immediately after I wrote that, Peter Orango would score from Vera to give RSL a 1-0 lead, and yeah, I mean it's like clockwork right now for Sporting KC of the amount of time that they just completely fall apart late in the game. Shelton did puts it wide from long range in the first minute of stoppage time, but really Sporting KC didn't really offer too much resistance because yeah, when you have a team that's giving up so many goals late in the game and it's a repeating pattern, there's really really no real resistance or kind of energy left to fight back because it's got to be emotionally draining to the Sporting KC players and the mentality has to be at an all-time low for this team to have this happening almost every single week. But yeah, in the end, RSL gets the 1-0 win. The shots in this one, 14 shots for the 10 that Sporting KC had. Only one shot on goal compared to the four that RSL has. So as much as we also talk about the problem for Sporting KC on the defensive front and blowing late leads, the offense has been kind of quiet, at least in these last couple of games. I mean, only one shot on goal generated in this game, despite the fact that they had the like of Polito, Showery, and Russell there. Those trio has had a really poor start this season, and it's no surprise that kind of has resort for recently that they haven't been scoring a lot like they did in the early part of the season. But 5 shots off target for both of these teams. 4 shots that was blocked for the two that RSL had, and possession-wise, 59% possession compared to 41% possession that Sporting KC has in this game. And with this win, RSL, of course, are back at the top of the Western Conference. And while it wasn't a pretty win by any means necessary, considering the fact that RSL still has problems at times this season in terms of getting 3 points at home. And I also thought that as much as, there's the narrative of Sporting basically blowing it late and giving up late goals, there's still that narrative of RSL having these kind of home games sometimes kind of dominate their opposition, have many chances, but don't put it away. This is where you have Chicho Arango, and there's a reason why that he is definitely going to be in running for MVP this season. I mean, he's been a difference maker for this RSL team this season, and I've said this before, and I'll repeat it again, unfortunately for LAFC fans, that was a huge mistake for them to decide to get rid of Chicho Arango, and RSL basically reap the reward because of it. Now, moving on in the next match is Vancouver and Austin. So Vancouver, of course, had a record crowd in this one as they were celebrating their 50th anniversary of their club history. But unfortunately, they didn't really give their crowd anything to cheer for, as it ends in a scoreless draw in this game against Austin, who kind of had a very Austin FC kind of road game in this one. In the 9th minute, Takuako would deny Juriusi from close, as that was the game first shot. Little did we know that would also be one of 4 shots that Austin would get, and be the time that Takuako had to make a save in this game. But I thought it was a good start, at least for Austin, who controlled the game early. Though Pico did had a header that just went high before Adekube puts it wide from long range. And after Vancouver kind of started out flat in this game, they started to woke up a little bit. And in Lloyd, they got the opening goal in the 19th minute when Ryan Gold puts it into the back of net. The problem is that when they go to VAR, they found out that Fapico handball this one in the box on the development play. So the goal, of course, was chopped off. It was still 0-0. We then go through a period where not much really happens. Stuver would deny goal from close range before Adekube would hit it wide, and immediately gone down with an injury. That's got to be devastating to see, because Sam Adekube, he's been dealing with so much injuries lately, and it's got to suck. The fact that now he's going to suffer another bit of a setback, and you just hope that it's nothing serious for the sake of him. But near the end of the first half, there was no PK that was awarded to the Whitecaps, as they did go to VAR to see whether or not if Ring did brought down Pico in the box. And I gotta say, it's very 50-50. I think that, yes, there is contact there, but you could argue that maybe it could have been a little soft. But I will say that when they decided to go to VAR when it wasn't being called, I thought maybe they were going to overturn it, because not 8 out of 10 times when that happened, usually they overturn it. But no, they didn't overturn turned it. It says no PK'd, and the fans were not happy about that. Immediately after the VAR call and the announcement was made, they told the ref that he really sucked. But as the halftime whistle was blown, there was more action that was happening, as there was some tempers flare that happened after Dreyusi. I don't know what the Whitecaps bench basically said to him. It probably is something that he did not like, because he was very hot. Like he immediately charged into the Whitecaps bench. Definitely had some choice words for the Whitecaps bench. And both teams kind of had to be separated because of that. But we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. Now in the second half, Stuber denied Raposo as the flag went up. By the way, I don't think there was a yellow card that was handed during that situation, which is kind of interesting. But at the same time, I think Grayusi probably got away with it, because when you make a beeline to the bench like that, you probably maybe get a yellow card at minimum. But in the 59th minute, Pico would heads it wide from close range as I thought the Whitecaps were knocking on the door. But can they get that opening goal? Well, Goal did try to do so, but he hits it right to Stewart before Raposo also hits one right to Stewart. And it feels like this is one of those games where, Brad Stewart, we've seen it before. He has bailed out Austin time and time again, and it feels like he was doing it again, trying to steal one for Austin, trying to steal a point for them, despite the fact that Austin was going through their usual. Well, let's do nothing on the attack and basically just sit back and pray that we can get a no draw out of this game. Goal would then puts it wide from close in the 76th minute, and this is where you start kind of feel like is this going to be one of those nights for the Whitecaps where they just lack that clinical finishing, and they just couldn't beat Brad Stuver because in the 82nd minute he would deny Ubik on the header, and you can clearly see Austin was parking the bus. I mean, to be fair, they've been parking the bus ever since near the beginning of this game, and yeah, in the end, it was successful. They get a 0-0 draw out of this game, and the stats pretty much just shows you how frustrating of a night it was for the Vancouver Whitecaps. They had 23 shots in this one compared to just 4 that Austin had. 1 shot on goal for the 7 that Vancouver has. 7 shots off target for the 2 that Austin had. 1 shot was blocked for the 8 that Vancouver has. And possession-wise, 63% possession compared to 37% possession that Austin has in this game. And every time when I said that this is clearly unsustainable for Austin to keep playing the way that they've been this season on the road, just pretty much parking the bus and pray that they can sneak out a 0-0 draw. They do it again in this one, but again for the Vancouver Whitecaps and for Vanni Sartini, they will be very very frustrating about this game. I mean, I will also say that Austin has definitely done better in terms of defensively and really doing this good run of form that they've been in. One of the big reasons why they've been on a good run of form is because they stopped leaking goals. That the defense has been a little bit better, and also Brad Stuver again just stealing some games and maybe in a flying under the radar kind of season of potentially being the goalkeeper of the year. But yeah, for the Whitecaps, again, they had their moments in this game, and it's got to be very frustrating that they didn't get all 3 points in especially in front of a record-setting crowd that probably will be broken in a couple of weeks when they play against Inter Miami at home. With that being said, I am now going to change sports and look at the last 2 games and the Sunday game that happened to finish off match week number 11. So moving on is NYCFC versus the Colorado Rapids, and how about the Rapids? I mean, this I would say is probably the most impressive road win that the Rapids had this season. And I know they did have that 3-0 road win against the Quakes, which was one of the biggest margin of victory on the road that they had in a very long time. But keep in mind, they were playing against the Quakes. And the Quakes were a very bad team and still are a very bad team right now. Not against NYCFC though, especially with the way that NYCFC, they've been very good at home, and that you could also argue they had they were one of the harder team in the month of April. But as soon as the month turns to May, yeah, it seems like old problems started to surface again for NYCFC. Now early on, Cabral would hit one right to freeze before before I thought the Rapids started out the better team as they were looking for the opening goal. And they get it in the 16th minute as Navarro would score from Bassett and Cabral to give the Rapids a 1-0 lead. I gotta say, ever since Rafael Navarro finally got his first open play goal against the Quakes, it feels like he has that confidence of scoring more goals. And that's not a big surprise because that's just your typical kind of mindset of a number 9 who needs to get a goal to kind of break the ice. And now once that ice is being broken, that's when the goals started to go through. That can also say the same for Darren Yappy, who get a rare start in this one, but he fires it just wide from close range. Speaking of a curse number 9, Baccarat would puts it wide from close range because he's not allowed to score goals. Before Rosenberry looked like he made it 2-0, but the flag did not agree with him as the goal was disallowed for offside. But there was no doubt that I thought the Rapids were by far the better team. And it was surprising, too, because, again, NYCFC has played so well during this 5-game home stretch. They were very flat coming out of this game at home. And I get that this is, of course, taking place at Citi Field instead of at their their usual home, that is Yankee Stadium, but the mention is still pretty much the same. It's still in a baseball stadium, and they just looked all out of sorts, at least early in this game. Fernandez would then puts it wide from close range before Wolf puts it over from close. Rodriguez then puts it into the stands from close range as NYCFC looked like they finally woke up and looked to try to get an equalizer. Though that being said, most of these chances hasn't really been on target and hasn't really tested Stefan. Though Stefan was finally tested in the 45th minute, but it was kind of a weak header there from Kevin O'Toole that heads it right to Stefan, and we do head to halftime with the Rapids leading 1-0. In the second half, Freeze would deny Fernandez in the near post. I'll tell you what, if Omer Fernandez scored against NYCFC, again, NYCFC fans are just going to pull their hair out because this is a guy that has just terrorized NYCFC over and over again in the Hudson River Derby, and I guarantee you that Omer Fernandez was definitely up for it in this one. But Stefan would then tip Rodriguez shot over before Wolf would put it into the side netting in the 52nd minute. Navarro then puts it high from close range, as I thought both of these teams were getting some good chances. But the question is, who can get that next crucial goal that could be a big decider in this game? Well, Jones did try to do so for NYCFC, and he had a free header, but he missed that one wide. Yeah, that is one that Jones would absolutely love to have back. For on the other end, Cabral would put it just wide from long range, but then in the 86th minute, no Bassett call game as he scored here from Calvin Harris to make it 2-0 in favor of the Rapids, and that's the final score of this game. Again, this was a very impressive performance by the Rapids on the road, and we're starting to really start to see that Chris Armas is starting to follow the same thing what we saw with Ben Olsen last year for the Dynamo, a head coach that were not a very popular pick coming in and probably needs to perform straight away. He has definitely done that and then some to this Colorado Rapids team. Shots in this one, 15 shots for the 11 that the Rapids had, 4 shots on goal for the 3 that NYCFC had, 7 shots off target for the 5 that the Rapids had, 2 shots on the block for the 3 that NYCFC had, and possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that the Rapids has had in this game. And I believe this is the end of that 5 game home stretch for NYCFC. I might be wrong though. They maybe have one more home game left in this stretch, but if this is the end of that 5 game home stretch, I mean there is still positive that they got a lot of wins out of this stretch to get themselves into playoff contention. But it's got to be very frustrating to end it in this way where again they look like a team that what we saw in the beginning of the season look all out of sorts, and that was kind of the point when we saw Nick Cushing really was in the discussion of being the first head coach to be fired, and this kind of performance probably will reignite the hot seat for Nick Cushing that currently is sitting as the head coach of this NYCFC team. But that being said, moving on into the last game on this board, and that will be the Seattle Sounder and the LA Galaxy. And I gotta say, it took a while for this game to get going, and eventually, when it did get going, it seems like both of these teams just couldn't find the target. And also, not to mention, both of these goalkeepers did make some big save to keep this 0-0. But the first shot of the game did see Ruben Diaz shot that was deflected wide. The Sounders had most of the possession as the Galaxy was elected to sit back. Keep in mind, the Galaxy were very shorthanded coming into this game. No Jovic in this game, no Ricky Puig in this game, and it really showed in this one. They were really lacking both of those dynamic weapons to really do much on the attack throughout this game. But so is the Sounders. I mean, the shots are only 2-1 for the Galaxy early, or actually, I'm sorry, it was 2-1 in favor of the Sounders early in this one. Rodon would put it over the bar from long range before Morris would head it right to McCarthy, as now the shots were 5-1 for the Sounders. But you just doesn't feel like the Sounders were threatening, even though they had more of the shots, because most of these are just kind of low percentage shot. Only one shot has been on goal so far for this game, and really it was a very slow pace kind of game in this one, and just one that I kind of had a feeling that, oh boy, is this going to be one of those games where it's going to be a dull kind of Sunday national televised game where not much, of course, will happen, and it's probably going to end 0-0. But we do head to halftime with that scoreline, and it will change, at least in the second half. Atencio would then put it over the bar from long range, despite the Sounders had most of the possession. and most of the chances, it's still slow and predictable. It's been the story of the season for the Seattle Sounders, and it's also been the story of the season, even going back to last year as well. They just look like a team that, while this season they had some games where it looks like that attack has come to life. The last game against the Union is an example. That Montreal performance that they had, they won 5-0, was kind of example. But those games are started becoming being an outlier because, again, this has been the identity of the Seattle Sounders. Just look very slow, very predictable, just very easy to defend against. Barry would then hits one right to Fry, as that was a rare opportunity for the Galaxy because that was only the second shot for the Galaxy up to that point. On the other hand, McCarthy had to deny Rui Diaz, and he made up for it for this one because he gave this one straight to Rui Diaz. And by the way, the Barry opportunity for the Galaxy, it came all of the WTF turnover for the Seattle Sounders. So there was some sloppy play for both of these teams. Like this game went from a very slow paced game to now mistakes are starting to show, and I feel like that maybe be the difference if this is going to be one of those games where not much chances is going to be created. And again, that will change quickly because McCarthy would then denied. He's going to. Oh God, oh, this is kind of embarrassing. I don't know. Oh, now I see it. It's Sao Paulo from close range. I almost didn't see who that player is from my handwriting, and it's kind of a bit of embarrassing if I can't recognize my own handwriting. But anyway, Pegwood puts it wide from close range before Fry denied Peg from close as the game really started to come alive. Both of these teams realized that, yeah, let's actually get all 3 points in this game instead of playing this boring brand of soccer. Brugman would puts it high from long range before Fry denied Fagundes in the back post. Chu then hits it over from a point blank effort, and that shot kind of sums up the Seattle Sounders this season, who has just been wasting prime opportunity game after game. Rui Diaz would puts it wide from close range, and really as the time winds down, it just feels like the Sounders not only continue to push for the opener, it looked like maybe the Galaxy are just going to happy to walk away with a point out of this game. And why not? Considering they were down a couple of their key starters, I think a 0-0 draw would definitely be good for them. Muswowski did had a chance in the 4th minute stoppage time, but he puts it wide from close range. But in the end, the Galaxy got their what they wanted. They get a 0-0 draw out of this game. They get a point out of this game over the Sounders. And the shots in this one, and that's actually a 19 here. Yeah, 19 shots compared to 11 that the Galaxy has had. And a lot of those shots really came in a fury between the 61st minute all the way into the 80th minute mark. But despite the fact that there was 30 shots in this one, only 8 of them was on target. 5 shots on goal compared to 3 that the Galaxy had. 5 shots on target for the 7 that the Sounders had. 7 shots on block for the 3 that the Galaxy had. And possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession the Galaxy has in this game. And again, I think the Galaxy will be the more happier side coming out of this. Despite they were this because they were a little short-handed coming in to this game. But for the Seattle Sounders, I mean, this game just kind of is it pretty much sums up how this season has gone for this team. I mean, this team continue to have problem on the attacking end, and until that, of course, is it going to be fixed? Mostly, until they, of course, hope that Pedro de la Vega does come back to this team sooner than later. This is going to be the same problem that the Sounders are going to deal with, and I'm pretty sure Sounders fans are getting very frustrating because of that. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the review of these last 6 games. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these last 6 games. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do a like, smash the subscribe button. By the way, tomorrow I'll be doing an emotion index because we just hit the end of April, and every time when we hit near the end of the month and now into a new month, I'm going to have to do an emotion index, and that's exactly what I will do tomorrow. But yeah, either way, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.